Snow is falling on the city street, a quiet hush, a frozen beat. December air is sharp and cold, a story waiting to be told. We gather round with fading light, seeking truth to make things right. And every mountain, every shore, we're knocking on justice's door. For the silenced and the lost, we remember the cost. For the future we must build a promise to be fulfilled. Seeking justice, let truth flow. We the people, let it snow, let justice grow.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Fair game. Testing my audio today, December 24th, 2025. Merry Christmas Eve, every single one of you. I know it's Christmas Eve. A lot of people are going to be talking about people going live on Christmas Eve. How dare them? You know what? I'm about to give you the greatest gift ever on Christmas Eve this year alone. It is the gift of peace in the Idaho 4 case. Who wouldn't want this? Who wouldn't want this? You know, some things just fall in your lap and you don't repeat the narrative they're trying to sell you, and you go down a few rabbit holes, and guess what? You may find the answers. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phoenix. This is Phoenix Talks. If you've come across my channel from somebody who shared this with you, thank them. Thank them and wish them Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and change for the new year. That's what we're all going to need. This is what we're going to take. So here we rise above assumptions. We don't go with the narrative or the rumors. We stay curious, asking the right questions, and we think with open minds, which means we're not going to be blindsided or hoodwinked by the mainstream media, the fake news media. And that is, in my humble opinion, they're pushing you an agenda, a psychological agenda to ingrain in your head fear, fear, and more fear, and lies and deception, because they don't want you to see things for what they really are. Take off the rose colored glasses, take off the blinders, grab a cup of coffee, tea, soda, Red Bull, whatever your choice of drink is, and we are going to answer some questions and ask more questions, because every single question is important. Every angle is important, and nothing is off limits here. If you're scrolling to troll, keep going. Do it silently, because here, when Phoenix talks, we're going to have a respectful chat. That's all I ask. And this is where curiosity sparks the fire to truth. Welcome in every single one of you. You know, I typically would not go live on a busy, very busy day of the year. Thank goodness all my shopping was completed. Last minute gifts were bought yesterday. We thought our refrigerator went out last night when Lowe's was closing within 45 minutes. I was panicked, and this was my spare fridge in the garage, which we bought secondhand. You know, most refrigerators are supposed to last at least a good 10 to 20 years. This one is coming on 20 years, and I told my husband I knew we should have replaced it before we bought all these gifts, and yada, yada, yada. Do you know? Not panicking about money. I mean, our Christmas was paid for. I did an angel tree for a family that I absolutely love. I gave a couple of gifts here to my viewers. I have always been a person of giving, and I'm last on the list. I take care of everyone else first. I'm sure you guys know what it's like. I would rather have my child eat before I eat. Hey, I was a single mom and raised 3 kids for many years before I met my absolutely amazing husband, the love of my life, who I wish I met when I was in high school. I will tell you, this man is compassionate. He is handy. He is giving, forgiving, and he is absolutely amazing. My husband rocks. You don't know the kind of year we've had. We have spent over $50,000 in court costs to fight a 6-year battle that we have officially finally won. That was probably the greatest gift we were ever given, just on the 22nd. But I will say this, my fridge did not go out. The outlet went out. And my handy husband went to the hardware store this morning and replaced it. And my fridge is working. We have electricity in the garage. Don't know what happened. I guess we just had a bad GCFI or something. Don't know. But he is the master of my living life. And, you know, Jesus has my heart, but my husband comes close second. So close second, you guys don't know. And I am giving him the ultimate Christmas gift this year and the ultimate anniversary gift. Our anniversary is on January 1st. And we got married at 11 o'clock in Haley, Idaho, in the middle of a snow, with just me and him, nature, and the pastor and his wife. And just so blessed. And like I said, I am here to give you the blessing of peace in the Idaho 4 case, because we don't know what happened to these 4 souls. We don't know what kind of psychological warfare this is. We don't know what kind of spiritual warfare this is, but we must have our eyes open, because at any moment, answers will be given and you might miss it. And I appreciate every single one of you here listening to what I found and what I have to share. It is so important. So as we explored the Gideon on Dylan's arm, which was written, hidden, in plain sight, many of us saw it. Many of us, not even a lot of us, have been talking about this. It says Gideon was here. And a lot of people would probably say or poo-poo the idea of we are talking about the Greek life book, which happens to be Doug Wilson's favorite passage ever that he speaks on. Could it be just a coincidence? Could it be just by chance? Or was the Idaho 4 divine? Was it manufactured to look this way for a certain reason? Well, I think there's many things that we can learn from the Idaho 4 case. But let's just take a look at this. Welcome everyone in. I'm not going to call you out by name. You know who you are. You are so welcome to be here. I am glad to see a lot of OGs from the TikTok days that moved over with me and Bertie to the YouTube, which I actually love long content. It's easier, but I will be doing a video for TikTok right after this to show everything in a short, sweet way that you can take a look at this. And yes, this is spot on. A cartel hit would not clean up a crime, but a frat crime probably would, and cover the bodies, definitely do cleanup, definitely delay an 8 o'clock, an 8-hour time frame clock. But I will say this. If there's one thing that I've learned in any of these cases, just like I've covered the Gypsy Rose case, I brought the sheriff's documents forward to show that something went down in the kitchen even before the young man, Nick Godejohn, with autism, showed up to cover for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And what happened? She got a sweetheart deal. They let her out of prison. He is still serving a lifetime in prison. He took his chance, didn't take a plea deal. He will be forever in prison for something he may not have committed. And he is definitely in the process of his last appeal. But let me share this with you. So much information has come out. So many FOIAs have finally been answered and given to us. And the answers lie within these. And I wasn't seeing a conclusion. I wasn't seeing an answer regarding this Gideon. So I kept dealing and digging and looking for answers. And I found it last night, just at the spur of the moment. And I thought, let me marinate on this. Let me just take a look at this and let me put it all together, because it is a whopper of a truth of the story being shared without saying anything. And that is mind-blowing. Why? They don't want to tell us. They want us to figure it out. They're not going to spoon feed us the answer. They're going to make us marinate and make us figure it out. Because if they told us, we probably wouldn't believe them anyways. And here is the answer. Frat, sorority, and cops. Remember I told you all the cops were so close right around the freaking corner? Remember I told you they were so close? They knew what had happened. Possibly, speculatory, of course, when it happened. Absolutely when it happened. And they had to figure out how they were going to make it to where people would believe it. When you have a story you have to cover up, there always has to be a fall guy. Now let's just think about a recent story that we've seen in the headlines, in the news, mainstream media, that they needed a fall guy. Well, let's just go with Mr. Eyebrows, Luigi Mangione, or Mr. Loner, trans, whatever, in the Charlie Kirk case. Let's just talk about, Karen Reed. Was that a true case? Is that uncovering a lot of corruption and crime in the area? Possible. They used the case to maybe, uncover all that. Was she guilty? I don't think so. I think it was a cover up. I think not everything is a cover up. I mean, you see some cases go one and done in a short amount of time. But I will say this. There is a common theme among the stories that they pick to spoon feed us. Well, I should say shove down our throats, but let's get into it. Type a 1 if you are all ready to hear the details. I have got me a cherry Coke. This is my treat. It's a little tiny can. I'm going to open that up. I'm excited. And I'm going to dig into it with you. You guys have been so amazing. It is so sweet when we get together and we talk about this. We talk it out and we know. And I agree, Grace. I totally agree. Phoenix, in my humble opinion, I have thought that the frats and sororities and Ellie is involved. Just can't decide who did the unaliving. Well, here's the major crux of all this. The Ellie, they drive who they choose to be on their team. Kind of like soccer, right? Or a dodgeball. Let's use dodgeball. You pick who you want on your team that go to these colleges. And remember, I thought, God, I wonder if this is like 21 Jump Street. If you don't know anything about 21 Jump Street, I grew up in the 80s and it was an undercover cop that, cover cops that go to high school. They look like high schoolers. They mesh, they blend in, and they find out things and they deter crime. Whether no matter what crime it may be, they have homeboys on their team, y'all. They have homeboys. So there isn't a lack of evidence. We feel like there is a lack of evidence. They've just hidden the actual evidence from us because they don't want us to know the truth. They are still going to cover this up and make Brian Koberger the fall guy, whether he was in on it or not, or whether he was targeted, or whether he was just an outsider they were easily going to railroad. He was the fall guy. It happens. Totally happens. I was accused by my homies as an undercover cop. That is so cool though, right? You were like, hey, you're the one. Amanda B, I hope you are doing amazing today. I've been thinking about you. You've been on my heart. And it's good to see you here, Marissa, Donna Rosa, and all of you. You guys are amazing. So let me show you the proof that I have of a timeline. And the rest will be like an aha moment as it was for me. So going back to this, Gideon was here. Who is Gideon and why did she have this on her arm at the time of the 911 call? Was ISP already on scene? Were other agencies already on scene? Just like when she said, that man helped us, helped me. Was Gideon already on the scene? Gideon who? Perhaps Gideon of the Idaho State Police. That could be a commonality. It could be a coincidence. But let me show you. I've talked about this for about maybe a week and a half. And I figured I might as well give you the gift to give you rest today in the Idaho 4. And one thing that holds true is definitely the FBI, the ISP, and the task force officer. They all knew when this atrocity took place, obviously, but they never gave us the time of deaths. They never gave us the autopsy time. They never said when this occurred. They've always maintained the 4 a.m. Dylan was coaxed to keep the 4 a.m. timeline to offer the cover story, in my opinion. I think the officers knew who Gideon was. Was it GM that we have seen in the supplement from the ISP that basically said someone could break in and kill them all and they would never even know? With that 77 that I never finished the other day, could it have possibly been that GM? Was it that Gideon they were talking about? Is there somebody out there named GM? Because Scott Perky called Chief Fry and said, hey, there's a dude that was born yada, yada, yada in 2003. And I think that GM is the one that did this. GM did this. He didn't know the individual's last name, but he believed that's where he lived. Perky told him a story about going camping or something, and he scared the shit out of him that he was there. And Perky told me that he asked G about the conversation that took place at the Mad Greek restaurant. Did Perky know GM? Remember the little riddle that we tried to solve the other day that we had no idea, no clue, nowhere. I never found out where this riddle came from, folks. Nowhere. This riddle. It had to do with Perky. It says Maddie Perky, if that's M, Perky 7 cinder block. I still don't know what this is. I can only imagine someone knows, trying to tell us. Seven cinder block. Don't even know what this is. But I'm thinking 7 sins and not cinder block. There is a Gideon Roberts according to public. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. He gets paid about $85,000 a year. Gideon Roberts. Let's just go back. This name is very common in this case with the ISP. And I'm just going to give you a massive Phoenix fireball.
In blazing spheres, burning lights, dispelling all fear. Feel the blaze of unyielding light. Truth erupts, torches the night. Then comes the thorest drop of fire. Balls of fire, rising higher. Trip off fire, drop.
All right. Truth, bomb, fire, drops. Here we go. I'm going to follow this up with a quick little video, give you the inside scoop. I'm going to do a quick video on TikTok. I will be signed off for a few days, enjoying my amazing family, our amazing Christmas that we have planned for a while with family that I have not seen in a while, with a new grandbaby. And I am just so excited about our future here on TikTok and YouTube. You guys have just been like family to me. Family that I've met in person, family that I've not met in person yet, that I will meet. Even some of you that I've met in person are just amazing. Here we go. This Gideon in the Idaho 4 wrote this, met with the FBI task force, interviewed a 32-year-old witness, a 44-year-old witness, and one more witness, a 36-year-old white male. It basically says in the supplement of this, on December 14th, the day, almost 30 days to the day of the atrocity, about 2 p.m., ISP Detective Ryan O'Hara, an ISP detective and FBI investigation task force officer. He is with the FBI. Okay? ISB and Fed FBI. I hope you guys are reading this. ISP. He's with ISP. Gideon is ISP. And they met with the FBI task force officer. They interviewed Moscow Police Department. Okay? And they basically ask, so-and-so confirmed it was his vehicle, a white blank, Idaho registration, blank, 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 captured on video as he returned to Moscow, Idaho around 2:48 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. Then they interviewed him 2 more times about the account. What account? Well, here we go. What happened at 2:48? Well, thanks to Jules, she got that video with sound. If you have headphones, buckle up. It's going to be loud. I'm turning it all the way up. Listen what happens at 2:48 a.m. They gave us the time. I have got to put this on regular speed. Here we go. $2.48. Watch 1119 right across the street, guys. Bang. We saw what happened in the window. The lights are on the back of the house. That car drove up all the way to the back of the house of 1112. Lights are shining on Jack Decor's house. Someone comes out and realizes what happened. They find out and scream. Someone looks like they're running off, trying to be caught, perhaps. Runs probably, in my humble opinion, speculation only, all the way around this house up to Taylor by the fire hydrant. And they catch her. And it's coming. $50 this camera can catch. The cops are over on Taylor. They were parked in the Banfield. I've shown that several times. We know that overlaps. Cops were less than 100 feet away. Kaylee's last call to Jack Decor happens right now. The headlights on the right side were the cops. I believe they were turning to go down Taylor after seeing the 3 individuals in the Banfield. And there you have it. At 2:48, they were investigating and asking these witnesses, age 32, 44, and the last individual, 36. Now, I don't know who these individuals were. There's only 3 individuals that I know of that would fit this mold, and that was the professors that they interviewed in Washington. And yes, they did have that first timeline that it was approximately between 3 and 4 a.m. that this did occur. Now, if you think about this, they were asking 2:48 when you see those alleged gunshots inside or outside. It either was the reflection of the window of the trajectory, perhaps on the backside of 1122 outside in that corner where it looks like somebody potentially could have been shot, or somebody in the front of the house where the bullet hole is that I showed you that I believe it's a bullet hole, possibly could be. There is a whole list of we don't knows. But I will tell you this 2:48 a.m. was documented. So the 2:48 a.m. matches the timestamp of what you just witnessed that I showed you on the 1119 King Road. We have a timeline. And now that we have a timeline, it all evolves around the individuals that may have pulled up in that vehicle, that it was a white XYZ registration, whatever. It was captured on video camera when he returned home to blank, blank, blank. Now, in my humble opinion, these witnesses may have been neighbors of the individual who lived at 500 Queen Road, because that is the only location that this car at 2:58 could have arrived back in the neighborhood and gone down the street and parked at the Queen Road apartments. And yes, it was white. And here it is again coming in. Listen to the sound. Doesn't sound like an Elantra to me. Don't know what it is, but they interviewed this guy and his friends, alleged, a couple of times because they were interested to know where they were at 2:48 a.m. Specifically, so accurate to the time. I agree with this, Grace. I do agree with this. I agree with this. You see a lot on this video. You see a lot that they're trying to hide, but it is not hidden anymore. Now that you have a timeline, an accurate timeline, and you see what happens at 248 at the 1119 windows, whether it was inside or outside that window, we know now that is the proper timeline. Now we can finally put that to rest. 2 a.m. was a very dark hour. 2 a.m., 2:48 to be exact, was a dark hour for one of these victims, if not both. So they go and they ask this individual, or these alleged people. He was bar hopping with his friends, and he had a drink at Hunga Dunga and walked to Mingles, where everyone was supposed to be going to shoot pool. And they were joined there and continued to John's Alley and stayed there around 2:30. The bars closed. They walked to a house near Pizza Perfection. Well, where is Pizza Perfection? Let me just look it up. I love a live dig, guys. On the fly, Pizza Perfection is right here. Pizza Perfection is right on the side by 6th. And it looks like it's, let me see, down 8. A&W's right here. So it's not that far. It's not that far at all. University College of Law, Chick-fil-A, Pizza Perfection. So if you're looking at it, the Kibbe Dome is right here. This is where Taylor is. This is where Queen Road was. It's not that far. It's just 1, 2, maybe 2 blocks away. So they were all at Pizza Perfection, where he sobered up before driving his friends home. After he arrived home, he went to bed and slept. After the bars closed, they went, Pizza Perfection. This is interesting. What time are they usually open? They usually close at 10 p.m. How could they go to Pizza Perfection after the bars closed? They walked to a house. To Blank's house before. So a house near Pizza Perfection. I wonder who lived over there. And they sobered up. He arrived home and went to bed and woke up at 9 a.m. After he woke up, he took his garbage to the dumpster. I believe we see that guy noting in an overfull and needed to be emptied. Yeah, that dumpster was pretty bad. He returned to his apartment and ate breakfast. This guy lives at 500 Queen Road. He did not know any of the victims, nor did he have any contact with them. And we know that Koberger didn't live there. About 5 p.m., I spoke with Blank on the phone and affirmed the timeline and provided information. He had dinner at Rants and Raves, went to Mingles where they were joined, and they closed around 2:30. And he walked to Blank's residence, drove home around 2 to 2:45. He did not know any of the victims. He didn't have any contact of any of the victims. However, a student in his class, all right, this is somebody in his class, did notify him he would not be at class. He was a friend of one of the students and would be attending the memorial service. He didn't know any of them. So in my humble opinion, these were the 3 professors that I talked to you about. I believe these were the 3 professors that could have been a student going there. They interviewed his professors. He did not know any of the victims, but he said he was going to be because he was a friend of one of the students, and we knew that he was a friend of Maddie's. On December 5th, about 8:30, I spoke with Blank by the phone, and he affirmed the account on November 12th and 13th and provided the details. They met at Mingles, they stayed with and played pool, and they went drinking until about midnight. Then they walked to John's Alley, had a few more drinks, and they stayed until closing from 2 to 2:30. Once the bar closed, he parted ways with Blank, and they began going towards the residence. Well, he began hitchhiking home, located on Blank in Moscow. Someone gave him a ride to the Blank across the street of his residence. Once he was home, he ate some food and went to bed. He stayed until about 12 p.m. He did not know any of the victims, and he had not had any contact with them. In my humble opinion, this was, in fact, 3 of the professors that I have shared with you in the past, and they were interviewing them because of the individual seen at 2:48 a.m. on camera, which is very interesting. Why would they want to know where they were, where his professors were? I guess I'm going to do a deep dive on this one because there's so much more now that we have a timeline. I'm sure the rest will fall in place. But remember, someone else said he was seen on camera. I'm wondering if it's the same individual. Oh, wow, guys. Wow. Now it just opens up a ton of more questions. How many times is he going to say he doesn't know the victims? Wow. Yes, there are 2 different timelines. Absolutely. I believe that one too. Wild West. You guys have got great ears, great eyes. Yes, I see it. Why interview all these people? Because they needed a fall guy. They needed a fall guy to be the face of the Idaho 4 unalivings. They needed to have a fall guy to say, yes, he did this in cold blood. I believe the crime ended at 2:53 a.m. Very quick. Very quick. This just opens up way more questions. But here's the interesting thing about Gideon. His notes were very interesting because he left and gave me the rabbit hole to go down. These were professors at WSU. Who drove a BMW, possibly a white BMW, was a student, and had professors at WSU. Who was that? The only reason I put these 2 together is I knew that all 3 of these were professors. And the most interesting part to all this in regards to Gideon, let me just grab it. You guys aren't going to believe this one. Well, you would be. Oh, here we go. Let me grab this really quick. Maybe, let me just search it real quick. I know I've got it in my, here it is. That's not it. Idaho 4. Why does it want to do this, guys? Shoot. All right, here we go. I hit the nail on the head with this one. This was the witness list. State of Idaho versus Brian Koberger. Derek Abendania was one of the professors. There's a couple of other professors on here. And Gideon Roberts was going to be a witness for the state and the prosecution. That was the connection, possibly, of Gideon Roberts in the ISP investigation of the Idaho 4. So why would Dylan have Gideon was here on her arm? What was this meaning? Who was the people that ran from the apartment in the back? We were just wondering. In my humble opinion, someone was chased out of that apartment, saw what happened, tried to leave, they chased after them, and then you hear a scream. They caught him. Gideon Roberts was indeed on the witness list by Brian Koberger and by the state of Idaho. There is a couple of other people that I've talked about in this case that connected to the three professors at WSU. So I don't know how those three professors got involved in this, but they did interview them. It had to have been about a student. There were no other than the one that I thought was very interesting. Gideon Roberts had a huge role in investigating the purchase of Kaylee Gonzalez's car that she sold. He interviewed only certain parts of this case. Was that the Gideon that we are talking about? Was it the one that could possibly be the one involved that was there talking to Dylan? Were the police there before the police got there? Could be possible. Could be. Could be. There's one other case that there's one other investigative report that he writes, and he does it by hand. He basically said that this is where some possible activity was going on with some evidence. But there was one other thing that he did take note of, and that was Kaylee's possible being a teacher's aide. He wrote a handwritten note. And it said, Kaylee started as a blank aide placed by the University of Idaho. 30 to 40 hours, fun festivity of Africa, saw some outside of work, friends raising, and I can't read his writing, in February, finished in March of 22. This person he interviewed was anxious, sometimes hesitant to probably answer. No known relationships, didn't talk about it. First heard about it from the news. Pours went to Starbucks run after 8 to 9 bedtime. I believe this was probably the coach. That something about his wife and the girls went out until 10 p.m. He was asleep until she got home. Got up at 6 on the 13th. Went to church at 9. Phone and DNA, wanted to talk to his legal advice first, and then he called back on Monday. Then he called back and said, nope, declined to give DNA or phone. That was something very interesting. But the timeline has been so ingrained in our heads, many of us didn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And we didn't believe it. But now we have peace that we know the timeline. That was the only other thing that stood out to me that Gideon was in charge of, especially the selling of her car, the DNA that they took, and investigating that lead. So many leads, so little time. What do you think about it now that you know? Now that you know the timeline and looking down the Gideon rabbit hole. Is there more? Is there more to this rabbit hole? Is it connecting some dots for you now that you see this? Type your thoughts below. Maybe you've seen a piece of this puzzle that doesn't make sense that you need to share. Because sometimes it can trigger your memory and be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like the shoes on the wire, Xana wrote a letter about it, a note about it. Exactly. Sadly, I think perhaps they were. I don't think they were very liked. Maybe because they were more mature, more ready to start their lives. Jealousy will do a lot to people. Jealousy can destroy you. I don't know this answer, but I am going to go down this rabbit hole because if this is correct, if this riddle is correct and they gave us the answers, G is already on this. GR, G, or this is just a riddle to keep us guessing. But I figured I'd share with you the wonderful gift of peace today. And bingo, I feel like this should be a bingo card. The timeline has now been resolved. 2:48 is when this atrocity took place. And that is at 2:51. Who did Dylan put in her contacts? Because remember, folks, 3:51, if her phone had never changed or she was still on Boise time when they interviewed her, it was actually 2:51. 2:51. Who did she add as a contact? Was it Gideon? Was it the ISP officer, Officer Gideon Roberts, that was assigned to Lewiston? Yeah, this officer covers Lewiston. He is the closest one for the ISP. He's paid about $75,000 to $85,000 nowadays. He was a trooper, a specialist. He knows that area. He knows the people. He knows a lot of people in that area. That was his job, duty, and title. The state police will tell you exactly what areas he covers, how much he makes for them. Here it is. He covers District 2. And he's also a second president with the Idaho State Police Association. He knows people. Definitely. So, when you start thinking about connections in this case, remember how I said how powerful these guys are, that a frat or the Greek Life Authority or whoever was in charge, Green could just call up, Fry could call up and say, hey, I need a favor. We've had a horrible incident here and we need to figure out what other investigations you're running in the area. Can we piggyback off to something? Can we do this? We need to figure out what we're going on. There's always been more involved. Connecting the dots is how we figure out what they're not telling us. It's right in our faces. So if you're watching some creators that are giving you all the good, loving feels, they're hyping up a certain subject and staying on that subject and not giving you any new information, you have to have information to think for yourself. I'm not forcing you to believe what I found, but I'm asking you to question the unthinkable. Is it possible? Yes, they have to know each other some way. Maybe they all go to church together, folks. That's how a lot of people begin to know people and recommend other people to go to certain businesses or call certain friends or, hey, you owe me one. I've told you about my own plight with my ex-husband. You know, the pastor whose wife left her kids in the car for a good 45 minutes while she ran into Walgreens in the hot summer with no air because they were asleep and she didn't want to get both of them out of their car seats. What did he do? Called up my husband knowing that he was a sheriff. Could you help me do something about this? Got her out of the ticket. And when I needed something from them, they ignored our request. It happens. It happens. And 2 years later, I see her at a woman's retreat, the pastor's wife, and she's over there sobbing, like weeping and crying. Because had she been charged and caught with that on her record, she would have never again worked in the children's ministry. I was against my husband helping them because that's the kind of people they really were. Underneath all the glitz and the glamour, they weren't really good people. They weren't in it for the right reasons. And yes, a lot of creators here are not in it for the right reasons. They're already getting paid to sell a narrative. The ones like me who are independent are struggling to get the time of day for people to listen. I won't spoon feed you, but I'll give you enough information that you could digest and think for yourself what really happened in the Idaho 4. Now, I've given you the timeline. I've connected the dots to the times. Now you can have peace. But what I'm going to ask of you every day at 2:48, no matter if it's AM or PM, and you're thinking about the Idaho 4, have peace knowing at 2:48, someone, one of the 4, passed. And their parents need rest about the Idaho 4. Give somebody else the gift of knowledge today. Hit the thumbs up, share this stream, hype this stream, hype one of my videos, anything I'm asking you for more people to get a look. The right eyes need to see this today. Every single one of you. Yeah, you can't redact the black marker. You can't redact them. I've already tried it. That was the first rule of spying 101 or unredacted information. It doesn't work. But definitely share this. And yes, there are some filters you could use to see things that are hidden. They're there. The guy walking across the street looks like he's dragging a body. Yes, it's there. It's there, folks. Sadly, it is there. It is there. Do me a favor. Have an awesome Christmas Eve, Christmas Day tonight. And I'll see you back here. Yes, bright and early on Friday at 9 a.m. And we're going to do a live dig. Everyone be well.
Snow is falling on the city street, a quiet hush, a frozen beat. sharp and cold, a story waiting to be told. We gather round a fading light, seeking truth to make things right. And every mountain, every shore, we're knocking on justice's door. Oh, we the people hear a call, for freedom ring, stand tall. The sweetest night, our voices raise, for justice in these coming days. Let truth like a river flow. Some promises were left to break, for every dreamer wide awake. But in the cold of fire burns a lesson that the heart learns. From every valley, every door, we're asking, what are we fighting for? Are we the people, hear the call, every opportunity stands out. This is race for justice and freedom. Every valley, every door, we're asking, what are we fighting for? Are we the people, hear the call, every opportunity stands out. This is race for justice and freedom. The flow. For the silence and the lost, we remember the cost. For the future we must build a promise to be fulfilled.